Good morning, Robert Scribbler. It is October 1st, 2018. Thank you for joining me for another climate change and clean energy video blog. Now, for this segment, I am going to talk about a very active Western Pacific with regards to tropical cyclones, in particular about Typhoon Trami and Typhoon Kong Rey. Trami, which struck Japan this past weekend, making landfall on the island of Okinawa, such that the eye passed over. We had some stunning shots of the eye visible from people in the Okinawa region, and then subsequently struck southern Japan with around 110 mile per hour maximum sustained winds and gusts to around 134 miles per hour near the Japanese city of Osaka. Overall, approximately 120 people were injured with 2 fatalities, and during the peak of the storm, about 750,000 people were listed without power. This follows Jebi's strike in early September and late August, which was the most powerful tropical cyclone to strike Japan within 25 years, producing the strongest storm surge for parts of Japan since 1961. It also follows major heat waves, which resulted in mass casualty incidents for Japan's, which flooded Japan's hospitals, as well as very severe floods, which resulted in the tragic loss of over 220 lives. All of these events occurring in a global environment which is around 1 to 1.2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial temperature averages, and in an ocean environment near Japan, which has featured consistently much warmer than normal sea surface temperatures, which have helped to fuel all these extreme events, as well as very significant atmospheric moisture levels, which have also helped to spike the intensity of a number of these events, both elements that are impacted by human-caused climate change. Just want to go ahead and show you a dramatic picture of Trami's eye structure when it was at maximum intensity as a super typhoon. And here we see a very dramatic, very large eye here with a powerful eye wall with very high cloud tops, as well as the open eye structure as air tends to sink in the eye itself as pressures decrease in the eye, generating the cyclonic signature that we are so used to. Trami at this point has moved off to the north of Japan, and with some impacts still striking the northern islands as Trami gets tangled up with a trough. But at this point, the worst impacts have already occurred for the island chain. Looking ahead now, we are starting to focus on yet another tropical cyclone, Kong Rey, which at this point is already a very powerful tropical cyclone with maximum sustained winds in the range of 110 knots, which brings it easily to major hurricane status comparable, so certainly something in the range of a Category 3 if you were to compare it with Atlantic and Eastern Pacific storms. This, of course, is a typhoon. And according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, it's expected to reach super typhoon status over the coming days, with a potential to hit as high as 130 knots or near 150 mile per hour maximum sustained winds by the 2nd of October. It's worth noting that Kong Rey's projected track has shifted a bit to the west. We saw the projected track here which brings it close to Shanghai by October 6th, and possibly threatening the Korean Peninsula as well as southern Japan during this time. As you can see, the cone of uncertainty includes Taiwan, southern Japan, Shanghai, as well as Korea. So a number of locations, as well as the island chain south of Japan, under the gun from Kong Rey. Looking at GFS model forecasts, and it is worth noting that the GFS has tended to show these storms a bit stronger than they've ended up becoming, but by the 5th of October, we have a very powerful 927 millibar storm, which is in the range of a comparable, very strong Category 4 or Category 5 storm on October 5th, threatening China, Korea, and southern Japan, lashing these regions with heavy rainfall bands. And moving on to the north by October 6th, cutting very close to both Korea and Japan on that time, as what would still be comparable to major hurricane strength as a typhoon. So a potential for a severe impact in this region of the world from Kong Rey. Yet another powerful tropical cyclone emerging from a region of the world that has seen much warmer than normal sea surface temperatures and very high atmospheric water vapor loading. I'm just going to go ahead and show you the Earth Null School picture of the wind field of Kong Rey. And over the coming days, this wind field is expected to expand and intensify with very intense winds near the center of the storm as it moves on toward China, Japan, and Korea. Just want to point out some of the sea surface temperatures in the region. Presently, Kong Rey is moving over sea surface temperatures that are about 1.4 degrees Celsius above normal, and this is helping to fuel its intensity, as we've seen with multiple tropical cyclones this year during this year in this region of the world, as sea surface temperatures near Japan have tended to range much warmer than normal. It is worth pointing out that Trami did produce some upwelling, and you can see some cooler sea surface temperatures along the recent path of Trami as it moved to the north toward Japan and just offshore. So some upwelling in the path of Kong Rey, which may help to reduce its peak intensity a little bit, but we still have a very moist environment and overall a very warm ocean environment, particularly for sea surface temperatures at this time of year, which are countervailing to the upwelling influence of the passage of a recent storm. Getting close to Korea, sea surface temperatures are between 1.4 and 2.5 degrees Celsius above average. And as we get into the Sea of Japan, you have similar sea surface temperatures, so not too much in the way of ocean temperature limiters for this region of the world. I'm going to go ahead and flip to sea surface temperatures as opposed to sea surface temperature anomalies so we can get an idea. So presently, sea surface temperatures in the range of 30 degrees Celsius, which is really hot for sea surface in the range of 86.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Presently, where Kong Rey is, and along the path of Trami, still in the range of about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, or 26.8, nearly 27 degrees Celsius. So very warm sea surfaces, and getting up close to Taiwan and Korea, still very warm sea surfaces in the range of 82 degrees Fahrenheit, or nearly 28 degrees Celsius. So a lot of warm water fuel available for this storm as it tracks off to the north and west. So yet another potential severe tropical cyclone strike for sections of Eastern Asia and Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, and China over the coming days from Kong Rey, And another event